Hello, 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 loves. Can you believe that we are this close to the end of the semester? This is module number 7, and we only have 8 modules, so that means we are 2 weeks away. And for some of you, graduation is next week. So, to those of you who will be walking across the stage, congratulations in advance. And thank you for taking this adventure on your way out of Washburn. And hopefully, you can carry some of these nuggets with you into your next chapter. Congratulations. So, today, the lecturette looks different. I am in Milwaukee. You are looking at the module on the screen versus a nature space, and I'm sitting at a coffee shop. So you can't see any of that. All you can see is the module. But when I get finished talking about the module, you will be able to see this Radio Milwaukee sign. You might even be able to see it right now. Who knows? I have never delivered a lecturette this way. I prefer just being out with Mother Earth. But I think it's important to spend this one-on-one time with you because these last 2 weeks are the weeks that you've probably been worried about or curious about, because this is where you get grades. All this time you have submitted assignments. All this time you've received some dabblings of feed forward. Some of you have reached out for personal information regarding your assignment and you received that feed forward. But now is the time to figure out how are those grades really going to affect me. So this is why I want to go ahead and talk about the syllabus. More importantly, talk about this module. Let me scroll up here. For module number 7, you are capable of reading, but there are some things that I absolutely must point out, and some of these things are already in bold. This module is all about synthesis and intentional design. So what do I mean by that? Every single week, you have worked on a writing assignment that would move you forward to your final submission. Now, you noticed that I never offered grades, but you may not know why I did that. So let me back up. One of my best classes or working on my dissertation had no grades. Now I have OCD. I love list. I love structure. I love all the things that allow me to check things off. But this course had no grades. And what I learned about myself during the process was I prefer that. There's a freedom to be able to express yourself as an individual rather than being concerned about how it was going to be perceived. And when you think about the line of work that I do in Black women's health and ancestral guidance and nature involvement, my relationship with these spaces will be totally different than my neighbor, than the professor, than a rubric. So I love the fact that I was able to express myself freely. And then when it came time for either did I pass or did I not, I was able to get the deep feed forward. So I take that and bring this into my teaching. I don't want to pressure you with grades, but it is necessary to have grades at the end, especially in undergrad, to decide how much were you able to put this into an intentional design? How much have you learned over the last 6 weeks? And how can we put this into a space that makes sense for those who like the check boxes? So you will see that there is a rubric already set up for you for module 8. But what you don't see in here is that I am willing to give you those deep, deep, deep notes to help you get to that successful point in module 8. And some of you may define successful point as a strong A. Some of you may define successful point as the place of deep integration. But whatever it is, I am going to, should you like it, I am going to go through every single assignment and synthesize what you have learned, bring it back to you in a 3CQ plus Q. I'm going to give you your compliments. I'm going to make the connections, not to myself, but to the overall objectives of the course. I'm going to provide comments that will help you figure out how this could relate to your final project, and then ask a few questions. Because in asking those questions, it will help you figure out, what does your creative output look like? And if you're a creative, this is probably going to be your favorite part of the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks. Now, I know that's all in module 8, but some of you want to get started early. That's why I've opened everything. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into module 7. Oh, okay, I don't want to change anything. I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper. See what I mean? I just don't do it like this. All right, so module overview, you can read that. Here are the learning goals for this module. You're now on chapter 7 for eco-womanism, but here's the lecturette. How do you prepare for this final project? So there are 2 parts to the final project. The first part is the synthesis, where you bring together all of your writings. When you do that, it makes it so much easier for me to look at one document, synthesize your one document, and bring it back out to you. So when I say one document, I know that you're going to have multiple submissions, but module 8, assignment 1 really is like maybe 6, 7 different entries. That makes it a lot easier. Now, some of you, when I say some, there have been 2 of you who have already completed this assignment. And for the 2 of you, I have already given you everything that you need to help you with a very strong, successful final submission. So thank you for jumping ahead. If you too want to do that, feel free. I am taking this time right now to give you the keys, to give you the tools, because I want you to be successful, not just in letter grade, but also in how this is integrated into your life. All right. The other part of the lecturette is, how are we going to revise with intention? Since you are going to submit in this Preparing the Grove, this right here, module 7, you're going to prepare all of your weekly writings into this beautiful, seamless entry. But when it's time for module 8, submission 1, you have to make revisions to all that beautifulness, if that's a word, that you just brought forward. I don't want you to recreate anything. I want you to add more to it. I want you, as one of my editors have told me, put more of you on the page. Bring scholarship into your discoveries. Get into the literature and find out who is writing about what you're living and what you're experiencing, and bring that into your work. And to make this a lot easier, as you bring this into your work, and I don't mean just drop it, make it seamless, but add a comment, actually, you know what? Just bold it. Just bold the addition so it just seems like it's a seamless entry, but visually I can see that this is where you are making a difference. And that's how you revise with intention. I want to go back and say one more thing about your final project related to your submission number 2 of module 8. Creativity is what you make it. Please, please do not be stressed by this assignment. By holding a PhD in art education, I teach people what I live. And what I live is what I know. And what I know is that we are all creatives. We are all artists. Now, I don't I don't draw, I don't sculpt. I like to dance for fun. I don't paint. The things that you would think would be an artist is just the surface level of how you define artistry. But as a mom, you're an artist. As a dad, you're an artist. As a baker, you're an artist. As a writer, you're an artist. As a storyteller, you're an artist. As an employee at certain companies, you're an artist. To me, this is just me, your artistry is about how you creatively show up and do the work. Point blank, period. How are you going to creatively show up and let me know what you have learned over the last 7 weeks, engaging with the Omni process, engaging with your elders, engaging with the elders in residence, and braid it into a way that your creative rendering shows me that. I don't want to give examples because I don't want anybody to just be like, hey, I'm going to borrow that. But if I was a baker, I might get a recipe from my elder. Then I might turn that recipe into a story and find scholarship that supports it. Here's an example. My mama loved to make cinnamon rolls. Most of you may already know, but my mama died in 2016. So my mama is my elder, my mama is my ancestor, and that is a deep memory that I have of her. But what I learned while trying to make her cinnamon rolls is that I didn't have the magic touch. My daughter did. And I only learned that this last Halloween because this is something that we do every Halloween for our family holiday. I would then begin to weave what is it like to have a grandmother's recipe in the hands of a granddaughter and how that then shapes the experience. I might want to do some research on transgenerational storytelling. I might want to do some research on baking. I might want to do some research on flour. Like there are very specific things that mama used, and I can't tell you the family recipe, but there were some very specific things that she used. And to find the recipes and then to find the stories about the ingredients in the recipe and then to turn that into this lineage work. Maybe I would present to you through a PowerPoint presentation some cinnamon rolls and braid all that together. That's just one example of a creative rendering. That kind of jumped ahead to this designing your arts-based project. How do you want to show up? How do you want to say, I am more than just this piece of paper. I am this magic. I am this creative rendering that is multifaceted. Yeah, have fun. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think a lot of these assignments when you go through college are absent of fun. And as a Black Joy scholar, I love joy. Joy is connected to fun. School for me is fun as long as I could do it like this. So please have fun in the work that you're doing. You'll see here how this module connects to everything that we've been doing so far by bringing your work into focus and preparing for the final integration. No one really called me out and said, Dr. Omni, why don't we have grades? So I think some of you really appreciated the fact that you could have the freedom to write and explore. But now, since we are to a place where you're going to get grades, really look at focus and preparation. That's why all the modules are open now. Take your time with it, especially those of you who are graduating next week. Maybe your mind is not here. You want to just get past the finish line. Let's start now. Let's get this done. All right. How are we going to assess this module? This is really about project planning and preparation. We did talk about that rather extensively. You've been planning and preparing this entire time. That's why this module is called Preparing the Grove, Synthesis, Clarity, and Project Development. So you've been working on this from the time that you entered this class, but maybe you didn't see how all the pieces fit together. This is how we work together now. The work you complete here directly supports your final revisions, your step 5 reflection, and the final integrated project. This is just something that I added for our OCD people in the room, and I am one of those people. I put it here at the end. Some of you would have preferred it in the beginning, but I want you to see now that the pressure has been removed, the pressure of performance has been removed. Now we get to the place of true alignment. For me, whenever I finish a project, I'm always thinking back. What did I learn? How am I going to carry that forward? Am I even in alignment with what I learned? And if not, what do I need to release? So here are the 5 outcomes of the course learning outcomes that you've already participated in. So that's that. And your weekly writing assignment, 2 pages this time, not a single page. But you see here, I need an introduction, I need a reflection, and I need a braided experience. Your braid so far has consisted of you, your elder in residence, and an element of nature. You can either 2-strand twist, and I don't know if you see it in here, and when I turn the screen off, you'll see, you can either 2-strand twist it and pick 2 of those. You could braid it with three strands, or you can use all 4. This freedom, this creative expression, this is time for me to just step back and watch you shine. You already have all the tools. For this experiential practice, it does take you out to a different web page. You don't even have to turn this in. These are just things for you to consider. When you're reviewing your weekly papers, what idea felt most important? I don't want to reveal. I don't, but I have read some of your submissions and cried that you revealed so much of your truth on the page that I can only imagine what else is in the person. This is a new experience. This is a new course, and you trusted me. I appreciate that, and that vulnerability was everything to me. Thank you so very much. I see that I might be blocking. Here, let me. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, I feel like I'm blocking out these words here, but I don't know what's going to be most important to you, but there are some things that were very important to me that made me cry. And for those of you who are that vulnerable, thank you. With your elder, reflect on your full set of conversations. I remember one reading, and the elder talked about not taking the time to be with nature because this person didn't have the time. Correction, this person did not make the time. To me, that is this beautiful undertone of the intergenerational aspect of what we do when we bring the elder in as educator. The silent education that you give them by simply asking a question, then plants a seed for them, and then it gets, nurtured and it grows. And next thing you know, that elder might be paying attention to the sounds of the birds a little bit more. That elder might go out and put their feet on the ground and feel Mother Earth and the grass and the breeze. And it's a teaching cycle. But think about what your elder said to start that teaching cycle. And what are you going to carry forward in that? These are only reflection points. And this last part for your project planning, which is module 8, what form will your art space project take? Let me stop right there. So, what form will it take? I told you I am here in Milwaukee. I am at a coffee shop that is attached to Radio Milwaukee. And it's an example. You could decide to do a podcast. That's an artistic expression. You may do a PowerPoint presentation where you have your elder on the screen, you invite them into a conversation, you weave it in with scholarship. That's just one example. But how is it going to take form? I'm curious. I want to know. If you want to email me a few ideas, we could go back and forth 2 times to figure out what's the best look for you. Or if you just want to put it on out there, feel free to do that too. Like I said, I want to give you the keys and the tools to make sure your final project, Module 8, Submission 2, Submission 1, are successful. There are 300 points in this class, and these last 2 assignments are your 300 points. 100 points for Submission 1, bringing in all the writings to this point and adding additional scholarship to it, making the changes so that you can go deeper and show up on the page in a full self. The other part is that artistic rendering for 200 points. Be creative and have fun. So I don't know how long I've been on this call. It is time for me to go get my coffee at this coffee shop. But as I was saying, 2-strand twist. 2 strands. I want you, if you're going to do a 2-strand twist, decide how do you fit into what you've learned over the course of the last 6 weeks. How does that twist in to the story of your elder? How does that twist in to the lessons of Mother Earth? How does that twist in to the lessons that were shared with you from Dr. Janet or Mrs. Gloria? You are at the center of this 2-strand twist because you are the student. What you decide to twist in or braid in next is about your creative rendering. As I have had fun with every single twist on my head, and you cannot see it right now, but I'm still going down on this single twist. Let's get this big one out the way. And yes, I am 2-strand twisting my hair on this lecturette. You can't see it, but every last one of these twists were put in by me over the course of 3 days. And how this relates to your braided experience is that it will take time. You've only been with me for 6 weeks, but imagine if you were to take what you've learned and braid it out to your everyday life, how it can come up with a whole new style. It can show up with beauty and separation and unity all at the same time. This is more than a course. As I said in the beginning, this is an adventure. So thank you for joining me on this adventure. I will see you next week for Module 7 Lecturette. It will not be inside because this is dark and I need to be outside in the light. But thank you so much. High fives, hugs, and hope. Give me your submissions. I'll give you the 3CQ plus Q. Be well.